reconcile the kind of the bloodthirsty nature of the Old Testament and kind of the pacifist attitude of the New Testament? How do you reconcile those and call them one word?
Okay, good question. Many people say to me, Cliff, it appears that the God of the Old Testament is a God of wrath, and the God of the New Testament is a God of love. So there you've got a fundamental contradiction right in the Bible. Well, I think it's clear when you read the Bible carefully that both the Old and the New Testament reveal that God is good. And part of his goodness is revealed in his hatred of evil. If you can watch a child being abused, if you can watch a human being being carved up by a criminal, and if you can just apathetically, indifferently stand there and say, well, that's interesting, you are not good. If you are good, confronted by evil, confronted by a heinous crime, you are morally indignant, and you try and stop that evil. Well, both the Old and the New Testament reveal that God is good. And part of his goodness is revealed in the way he is morally indignant over evil and must punish evil. And so you're right, sir. In the Old Testament, God chooses at times to judge certain people groups for the atrocities they've committed. But one of the most beautiful descriptions of the love of God is in the Old Testament. It's the book of Hosea. Hosea was a prophet of God who was married to a woman named Gomer. Every night the music would filter in through their bedroom window. Hosea's wife Gomer would get up, would leave the old man walking the streets, searching for the younger, stronger, more virile men. Every morning Hosea would get up and would walk the streets, searching for his wife Gomer. He would find her literally beaten, sexually abused, lying in the street. He would pick her up, bring her home, clean out her cuts, bandage her wounds. But inevitably, every night, as the music would filter in through the window, Gomer would get up, would leave the old man, searching for the younger, stronger, more virile men. One day, Gomer's lovers brought her down to the slave market to sell her to the highest bidder. Hosea went down to the slave market, bartered against other men to buy back his wife. He paid a high price for her. As they were walking home, Hosea turns to her and says, I've paid for you with a high price. You will no longer play the prostitute. You will be my faithful wife. And God was teaching Hosea a lesson. God was saying, Hosea, do you know the pain, the incredible pain that you experience over your wife's sexual unfaithfulness? Well, that is similar to the pain that I feel because of human beings' unfaithfulness to me. I created them for the purpose of loving me and worshiping me, and they've turned their backs on me, resented me, and gone their own way. But I will pay for them with a high price to buy them back. And that's what God did in sending his only son, Jesus, to bleed and die on a cross to buy us back. A tremendous revelation of God's love in the Old Testament. Now let's go to the New Testament. You're right. The New Testament talks about God's love, but where's the bloodiest book in the Bible? It's not in the Old Testament, it's in the New Testament. It's the book of Revelation. It talks about what's going to happen when Jesus Christ returns a second time. There will be judgment, there will be a heaven and a hell. Is the cross of Christ a loving sight? No. The cross of Christ is a bloody, painful sight of death. And Christ claimed that when he died on that cross, he was absorbing the penalty that we deserve for our cosmic treason against God. So God is just. He must punish evil. But he's also forgiving. He delights to forgive people like me who have done wrong.